Hello everyone, this is Greg from Mystery Honey. Today, for the short form of the full inspections, I want to focus on using Formic Pro on this colony here. I've noticed that there's been quite a high varroa load in a few colonies, this one especially, so I thought I'd use this Formic Pro, which is a very quick treatment compared to other ones that I've used, such as Apiguard and Apivar. This only takes about 7 days for it to actually do its job. You keep it on for a further 7 days after that, so 14 days in total. And that pretty much means that you've reduced the varroa load by a huge amount. But yeah, let's go on to the video and get cracking. If you like this content, please think about subscribing or liking the video. If not, I hope you have a fantastic day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the honey supers off this colony. It's going to probably upset them quite a bit because they like to have the space, but I want to use the Formic Pro on them. So Formic Pro supposedly only takes a week to work properly. The majority of the formic acid, which is the main ingredient, comes out in the first 3 days. Supposedly it only takes 7 days to work, but they recommend to keep it in for 14 days. So I'm going to keep it in for 14 days anyway. The issue is that the doses of formic acid that come out of these strips is of a level that can be dangerous to bees. So to use double brood, and you have to have good ventilation in there, which this does. The whole bottom of that is ventilated. And you can't have honey supers on. Now there was some mixed information, because in America they are allowed to use it with honey supers on. But in the UK we have different standards. I think we stick to the EU rules still, even after Brexit. So we're not allowed to use honey supers as well as Formic Pro, which is fine. I'm more than happy to not have treatments going into my honey that I'm selling. Last thing I want to do is have you guys getting anything that's contaminated. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to take the honey supers out. In fact, I'm going to see how many bees are in there, because if these are absolutely jam-packed, then I'm a bit worried about it. Another thing of note for Formic Pro is that it has a minimum size requirement. So the minimum size of colony has to be 6 frames, has to be 6 seams of bees. Now this colony is absolutely fine because it's a monster. It's a particularly nasty monster. Say it. Now, this is a honey super, and it does have honey in it, so try not to smoke honey supers if you can, because the last thing you want is smoky honey. But if you shoot it horizontally and just do little puffs, usually it doesn't cause too much trouble. Last thing you want to do is push it all the way down. So I'm just going to calm these guys down a little bit, just because they aren't a nice bunch of bees. Oh, dear me. And Greg doesn't want to get stung. Right. So this is full of honey. And this is full of bees. Maybe I won't use the Formic Pro. Are these guys collecting nectar? Straight away, as soon as I move my hands anywhere near them, just straight for me. Oh, clear off. Knock it off, all of you. Who do you think you are? Hey? Hey. So they're doing a good job of clearing this up now. They've taken it straight back down to the foundation in certain areas. Giving it a good clean. Yeah, they're doing really well with this. Oh, if you were nicer, you'd be the perfect queen. Honestly. This has got brood in it. It's going to be drone brood for the most part. Oh, there's some worker brood. Some eggs in here. Yeah, so we've got some drone brood there and some worker brood here. So it means the queen's up here. But again, they have holes, they've got perforations in their cells cappings. So it means that they do have an issue with varroa. So I'm kind of stuck really, because they've got loads of brood up here. And if they've got brood up here, it means that these need to be treated as well. But this is a honey super, so I'm not allowed to use it. But saying that, there's no honey in this super. This super is purely brood. And you can reuse the frames after the treatment. So what I might do is I might actually treat it with the super on that doesn't have any honey on, because then there's no chance of it contaminating the honey that I sell. Because in essence, this is just a small brood box at the moment, because there's no honey in here whatsoever. So I think I might do that. I might keep this on and treat it all the same. Right. So this has got a load of brood in it. I'll check the other super, see if that's got brood in it, and I'll swap out the frames that are just being cleaned for frames that have brood. So last week the queen was there. Go away, you angry bees. So I think that when I start treating them, they're not going to be particularly happy after that either. Yeah, well. Right, let's move this off. When you're doing inspections, it's best to start from the box at the bottom and work your way up, I find. Oh, but the bees do get very annoying. Look at them. Ah, wait. Hide my hands. Oh, they're finding me. Right, what do I say? Smoke yourself. Try not to set yourself on fire. These bees are so angry. It's horrible. I also need to redo my smoker. Right, back in a second. I'll leave these guys to calm down a bit. Oh, that's better. Right. Good smoke. Just calm these guys down a bit. Don't know if you can see the difference from just leaving them for a little bit to chill out. They do calm down quite a lot, because the initial alarm response goes up when you take the lid off, and that's when they all start coming at you. So sometimes the best thing to do if you're getting hounded by bees is just to step back, leave them with the lid off for just a little bit of time. Let's have a look. So, a decent frame of pollen. Where were you the other day when I was doing my queen rearing? Alright, so these bees are still hounding me. The problem is that I've taken the honey frames off, so these guys are really pissy about that. Pardon my French. Good frame of brood and pollen. I'm not going to do a full inspection just because they aren't particularly swarmy. It's mad, really. Puff that. My hand really hurts from when I got stung. Another frame of pollen. God damn it, guys. And loads of eggs. Now, I did find the queen the other day in marker, so if I see her, it should make things a bit easier. Alright, so they're getting uppity again. So all these flying bees are flying off and they're coming back and they're going, the roof's still open, so they come and go up again. They're just on a constant cycle of going round and round and round, trying to find me to sting. Like I'm an idiot dressed as a spaceman. You'd think that would be quite easy to find. Another frame, amazing frame of brood. This queen, like, as I keep saying, if she was nicer, I'd be trying to breed from her because she's just so good at creating bees. Problem is, those bees are just so angry. produce bees. Right, I'm not seeing any queen cells, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the Formic Pro, which I'm sure they will absolutely love me for. So, from what I read, Formic Pro, you always put it on the bottom box and then you put the boxes on top. So, there we go. Let's see what happens. So here's the instruction manual. Do not use for treatment of colonies of less than 10,000 bees. I think I may have more than 10,000 bees here. So the reason is because they need to produce ventilation to get this formic acid out. Do not use if outside temperatures are in the outside of the range of 10 to 29.5 degrees during the day. Well, it's been getting to 12 degrees, but we're still above 10 at the moment during June of all times. Right, so we have a picture. I love pictures. This means I have to read. So that is how I have to lay it out. So this is a double brood box, like that. So I'm going to have to lay it out like that, and then put the other brood boxes on top. So let's do that. Let's see what happens there. Oh, they're not going to like this though. I've got a feeling I'm going to get stung again. Right, stab this. This is why a sharp knife is always useful. Whoa. Don't sniff the Formic Pro. Right, so. Here are the two pads. Perforated thing? Yeah, cool. So they have this membrane on it, so this slows the formic acid from being released. Do not peel this off, because even though when you look underneath there's another layer of stuff going around it, this is the membrane that they're on about that you don't peel. So, according to the picture, I lay that like that there. Oh, the bees love that. Oh dear. And I lay this like this. Here. There we are. Oh, the bees have got away from that fast. Should be using Formic Pro instead of a smoker. Right, so then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to replace the brood box that is on top. This guy. So the problem with this is that I have two half brood boxes. Just because it makes things a bit easier for me. It's easier to lift, and also it's easier to make nucleus colonies from. So this could be a problem for this, because the Formic Pro goes underneath these lugs here, so where it touches the top of the brood box flush, so it could be squeezing it somehow, but anyway, we'll see. And then, as I said, I'm going to put this on, because this is not got any honey in it at all, and in essence is just a third brood box, and there is definitely a bee in my hood, so that's fun. Right, so I'm going to shake these bees from the honey super in, and look for any brood frames that are there. If there's some brood frames, and I'll swap it out with some of the nasty frames that are there. So I'll go for the middle first, because that's where the brood will be. And there we are, we've got some brood there. I'm going to shake these off. Actually, I'm not going to shake these off. I'm just going to take these nasty frames out. Have you got any brood in? No. Have you got any brood in? No. So I'm going to shake these nasty frames out. And any frames with brood, I'm going to put in this. Because I want to make sure that all of the brood has been treated. So that there has lots of brood on it. So move you up, why not? You're a nasty frame as well, aren't you? Make some more space. Middle box. So that is purely nectar. So I'm going to shake the bees off this one. Yeah, so that's purely nectar / honey. Down here, out the way. Oh, the bees won't like being confined. This is purely honey. This is an amazing frame of honey, actually. Oh, it's got some brood on it, but it's drone brood, and probably won't be able to emerge because there won't be any bees in here. So bees will sort that when I put the frame back on somewhere. Right. So these are now just frames of honey from what I can see on this side. Look at that. Look at those cappings. Wow. That is a very heavy frame. It's a shame I don't do spring honey. I might take a few frames and do a taste test for people. I've already been talking to pick and mixers about it because I've been thinking about selling borage honey, but I'm unsure if people actually like borage. It's very sweet. So I'll take some borage honey, some spring honey from this frame. That's an amazing frame of honey. Oop. Yeah, so you're just honey and nectar again. Oh. Right, and the last one. Let's check. Enough frame. Oh, okay, so it's my bees now. So that super has been taken off. Super has honey in it. That super only has brood in it now. It has enough space for some more frames, so I've got these ones that have honey into this super that's not going to go to anyone. What I'll do is I'll take this home and I'll just extract it. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of honey in this colony. So that's enough to fill a couple of jars. Means it won't get robbed out then. Right, so I'm going to evenly space these out. So with honey supers, if you want to get the maximum honey per frame, you draw them out with 11 frames in a box. So from foundation to comb, 11 frames in the box. And then once it's all drawn out, you take a frame out and evenly space them slightly wider. What that means is that the bees will pull the comb out a bit further, so it makes it a bit easier to slice with your uncapping tool. Oh man, I wish the weather was nicer. I feel like I'm always doing the bees in the rain. Oh, at the moment. Oh, right, so that's that done. So that Formic Pro on, and we're going to leave it alone now for at least 7 days, and we'll see what's happened. For Pro, 16th of June, Father's Day. Right, there we are. So if you ever need to leave yourself some notes, write on top of the roof. It's a good way of knowing what's going on in the colony, and if you change your pen per year, then it's a good way of keeping track, so you don't think, oh, this has had Formic Pro on. Right, move this over here. Right, onwards and upwards.